Hi everyone and welcome back to another incredible episode of Unfiltered podcast. I'm back here with Ben and we're gonna continue with the questions from where we left off last episode.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Another incredible episode. Welcome back everybody. We're gonna kick it off with our fire round as we always do. We're gonna ask one another yes or no questions to be answered with a simple yes or no to start off. These questions have not been rehearsed, have not been practiced, researched. We don't know what we will be asking. We don't know what we will be asked in these questions. So, with that, let's kick off the fire round.
Yeah. All right. My first question for you today is about tech. The CEO of Robotics, Andrew, he's working on a prototype that can potentially become a life companion for men and women. Do you think that is good for our society today?
Life companion.
Yes, a life companion.
Man, I'm gonna say yes on this.
Okay.
Do you condone killing police on the basis of ideology?
No. There was a AI summit in Paris. I think it was about a week ago, and the idea was to create regulations around the research when it comes to AI. But America declined to sign any documents. I don't really know what the fine prints of what they were trying to do look like, but America was represented by J.D. Vance, so the decline is. Do you think it was good for the world and America? It was bad.
I'm going to say no.
No.
Is dairy healthy for human consumption? Dairy.
I'm going to say no.
Cow milk.
All
right, you're going to go with no.
I'm going to say no. Conditional no.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then.
All right, my first question to you.
The fire round. So
Yeah.
Let's jump into it.
My first question to you today was about what Andrew, his last name is Kigel, Andrew Kigel. He's a CEO of Robotics. What he's doing, he's working on a prototype that could potentially become a life companion. Do you think this is good for our generation, even though we already seen an increase in a population that cannot make human connection?
I don't know that it can make things worse, to be honest, because we're in a situation where, look, there's too many people in the world.
What do you mean?
There's too many people, which means there's inevitably going to be too many lonely people. Overpopulation is a known issue, but we've talked on the show many times too about how the struggle for young people meeting someone or having a companion. A lot of young folks in general, but in particular young men, sort of being left behind in many areas of society, and relationships being one of them.
Yeah.
So I see potential there. Look, does it sound weird and creepy and very strange? A very strange concept to what we all grew up with, of course. But look, if it keeps someone somewhat content and keeps them from going and shooting up a school eventually, then sure, let's give them a robot.
So you don't think, because from our previous episodes, we have definitely talked about the importance of human connections, the importance of getting these young men and young women to be able to communicate with one another, be able to develop that habit of going up to one another and having incredible conversations. Don't you think this will contradict that?
Yes. The ideal is that we have this human connection, right?
Yeah.
My only point, I guess, is that truly achievable for everybody, and especially with, like I said, there's too many people in this world, and it's only growing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Technology is something we can't stop, right? We all know that by now, right? It's going to continue evolving. You can't stop what's coming, basically. And if you try to avoid what's coming, it's just going to hit you one way or another, right?
Yeah.
Nobody can survive nowadays without software. We all rely on it 100%. I mean, without phones, without computers. That's the world is run on these things.
Yeah.
And so there were people in the past, right, trying even to resist living their lives online You know, there's clearly nowadays not a way to avoid it. So my point being, technology is going to come. It's going to come at us, and it's going to continue to evolve and change our culture, whether we are ready for it or not.
But you do know, if we accept this in our society, if this become a way, if it advances to the point where it can literally become life companions to both men and women, do you know it's going to be difficult to see real people sit down and have conversations, right?
I think that's
a huge possibility.
I think that's already here. We're already at that point.
Yeah.
Our people's phones are already their life companion.
Okay.
Look, we now have people who that's their lifestyles. They come, or you know, they'll come home from work every day, sit at home, looking at their phone.
Okay.
That's already the problem, right? Is that people are living through the apps, whatever they're using, or living through, you know, social media. So I think we're already there.
Okay.
In terms of people isolating, cutting themselves off from real human connection. That's already happening. And yes, the ideal solution to that is, look, get people off their phones. Let's all go out into the public, into the town square and dance. And I mean, look, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
If we could do that, if we could rebuild communities to a point where people actually come out of their homes, connect with their neighbors, you know, talk to people. Unfortunately, we're way past that. We're in a crisis.
Okay.
This crisis is ongoing, and it's in particularly difficult in communities in the United States, where this idea of community has really faded over the years.
Yeah.
Communities, you know, it's become about everyone's individual, personal rights, and that sort of takes away from a sense. You see in other countries, you know, there's where they still do thrive on the idea of community and people coming together.
Yeah.
But it's because of a lot of issues, because of segregation, other types of things, and just communities, people not trusting each other in communities. The United States is struggling in a lot of ways.
I think it's most developed countries, because it's not just America. When you look at Japan, you look at the level of is it birth rates decline in Japan?
Birth rates?
Yeah, it's critical. It's a big problem right now in Japan, because what they are estimating is, if it continues like this, it's going to hit the workforce in Japan really soon, because there will not be enough people to work. And there are literally cities in Japan right now that people are abandoning, because everybody is moving either to Kyoto or Tokyo, and yeah, their population is elderly. So
they think they're not going to have enough people.
Yeah, they're not going to have enough
at
people.
some point.
Yeah, that's the problem. So don't you think things like this will also contribute to that, and instead make that worse?
I don't know that. Well, I mean, sure. I don't know that we're going to run into that problem in the U.S. Like I said.
Oh yeah, we will.
You think so?
Yeah. If you look at the statistics right now, Ben, you will realize
if we keep deporting people, maybe. But
yeah. Well, what is going to happen is, if we keep deporting people and we're not having children, then eventually, maybe half a century from now, we might run into that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to happen right now. It's a progressive issue, because right now, when you look at us right now, our parents, how many kids did they have here? 7, 8, 5. But we are here struggling. 1, 2. That's the problem right there.
Well, what's funny about that is since we touched on the topic of deportations, white men in government have long been sort of concerned about that other cultures are going to start taking over, because they're having a lot of children still.
Yeah.
Whereas white families have the rates of birth in white families has been declining. So there was one Republican official who said, on the issue of why Latinos there were so many Latinos in certain areas such as Texas, and he was saying they're more fertile than the white folks, which I think not necessarily true. They maybe just
they just like to have
not
kids.
As familiar with birth control.
Yeah, but no, not that. They just like to have a bunch of children. So yeah, I brought you this video of Andrew. You see, of robotics working on on his prototype, I just wanted to share it with you and for people that are listening on the audio. It's just a video of Andrew exhibiting his prototype.
Andrew.
His last name is always difficult for me to pronounce. I think it's Kigel.
Andrew Kegel.
Kegel. That's what I did. Andrew Kegel. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a smart guy. I mean, you don't like billionaires, but he's there you go. That's him right there. So yeah, that's an example of one of his prototypes that I was talking about.
A robot like Melody is $150,000, and that's fully AI capable and customized. We can actually make the robot look like anything you want. You can come to us and say, we would like to give us a picture of someone, and we can make that robot customized to you, and we can customize the AI so that it knows exactly what you want it to know. So it can learn about your company, it can learn about your product, or it can be your girlfriend.
Are we going to be like, this is my God, this is my family member?
Well, you could. We always say you can take our robots as a date to a wedding. We have this here on display for people to touch, so you can give that a feel and see how that feels. These faces are all modular, so we could actually take the faces off Melody and Aria, throw this one on top. It's all magnetized or special technology. Press a button, and then you have a different robotic character. This allows us to provide flexibility for our clients. If they change their minds and they want a different character, we can design a different face for them, and then they can add that on very easily.
Are they easy to swap? How long does it take to swap?
It takes about 10 seconds. You just peel it off and then put the other one on. It's our patented system with magnets.
Yikes.
You see, when I said when I said live companion, you didn't know the length which I was trying to explain.
No, I don't know. I guess I don't know what I was picturing, but it wasn't that.
Yeah, you see what I'm talking about now?
Yeah.
I'm talking about something that could potentially become sex partners for these kids. Not just companions to talk with.
He was saying in the video that he would bring her out to events and stuff.
I mean, that's what I was talking about.
But look, back to my point, if that ends up getting him out of the house, then maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, we have also talked on this show about porn addiction. And we have also talked about how young men are more addicted to what they see on screen, which gives them these unrealistic expectations and also withdraws them from the society. Imagine what would happen if someone like that was to lay their hands on a robot like this.
Yeah.
It would be a disaster. They would never leave their apartment again, or their house, wherever they live. Yeah. They would just be home every day watching what they see on those porn sites and trying to do it at home.
But is that not what they're doing already?
No, they're not doing it already because why? They don't have this tool to use. They don't have it.
So you think this would be enough to keep them, sexually and otherwise satisfied?
That's it. That's the whole point of this robot. It's not just someone that you can come home and make you a cocktail. No, it's someone that you can sleep with. No, let me not say someone. It's not a someone. It's something you can sleep with. Yeah, and with this porn site, this increase in pornography all across the world, imagine what will happen if these kids can lay their hands on this tool. Combining the two.
They would probably need a lot of money to get one.
Oh, trust me, even if the price on this is $250,000, if these kids know that it would feel like a human being, they will buy it. They will do payment plans.
What happens when it breaks down?
I don't know. Take it back to the company.
Tech support.
Tech support. They will fix it again for you.
Partner tech support.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah. I think there should be tech support for real partners sometimes too.
No, you'll get it out of it. But no, I think this is a terrible idea, right? I like the scientific progress of this.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember about 2 weeks ago I made a post on X. I was just I was just messing around and I posted that I can't wait for these robots to be out. I'm just waiting for one. And one of my very long time old friend, he replied to it and he was really mad. He was like, I wasn't thinking about the moral and the ethical part of it and the potential harm it can do for our society as we stand today. So what do you think? Morally and ethically, do you think this is right?
I mean, that's a fair question. I don't think it is completely ethical. But again, it's like we're past a point in our society now where what's going on is in any way moral or ethical. And so the view of it I'm taking is, look, if there are people who truly are just this lost this disconnected from society,
Mm-hmm.
that this is their greatest hope of somehow feeling content and satisfied,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe that's what they need. Because I can't imagine, look, this being a very new thing, and like I said, I mean, for me and you growing up, of course, this would be something that was just unimaginable. This would be, it would be almost something from like a sci-fi horror movie, you know, a robot that at some point tries to kill us or something. But if you're to that point where you're willing, you're shameless enough, not embarrassed to buy that as your companion, then I think, you know, maybe that's what you need. Because look,
You don't think they need therapy instead?
they do, but I mean, this is a person who's obviously not helping themselves in the first place. And so for young men, absolutely, I can agree with you there. This is not where young men should be turning. Young anybody should be turning. Like, if you're young and you're struggling to make connections in the real world, and you're serious about trying to find a partner, there are many things you can do, many avenues you can take to start to improve yourself personally, improve your social skills, build a better support system around you, all of these things. I would absolutely be opposed to young men going and settling for a robot as a partner. In some cases, though, look, if you're old and you're just past the point of you're over it, I mean, yeah, maybe.
There's always a silver lining in everything, but we have to weigh the pros and the cons and see which one is greater.
Yeah. I think before we, look, this is something that's not far off, probably technology-wise, but the greater threat currently in this moment, the greater threat, honestly, is social media. That's what's crushing so many people's chances. Look, social media is what creates an illusion of perfection, and it's known to lead to depression in young people, because they're looking and they're seeing everybody on social media. They're making their life look flawless and great, and what they're experiencing, all these beautiful things. They're traveling, they're living glamorous lives. That is an illusion, right? And so if people, and especially young people, are living under this illusion, they're already struggling out there, because they're thinking, oh, I'm so far behind. Why am I not living that lifestyle? And the reality is, that's not what life is really like. You do have to put the phone down, go outside, go out in the community, go to social events, go on dates, and then you can start to see what the real world is really like. And so my point being, that's the current greater threat to us. This type of technology, definitely has its flaws. And could do damage. But I think the bigger threat right now is what is already happening.
All right. So if you can see that we are already in this level today, already trying to produce a life companion out of AI and tech, right? Don't you think that maybe we are already pushing past our limitations? I mean, as human beings, we have to know when to not play God. Don't you think we're just a step away from maybe trying to make babies, creating artificial wombs?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, regardless of ethical standards, people like this are never gonna slow down. And so that was my point by saying you can't stop what's coming for us.
Yeah.
You can either be left behind, or you can figure out, how it works with your life personally.
So scientific progress will happen regardless.
It's inevitable.
Okay.
Just the same as like space travel or all these other things that are happening, that you could argue on a great number of things, that is this good for humanity or is it bad? And a lot of it is bad, but that's not going to stop it from happening. Look, I would say, I mean, like, some of the things that have some of the companies, the things that have literally changed human lifestyle.
Yeah.
Such as Amazon, right?
Yeah.
That completely changed how commerce, but on an even deeper level, how human interaction works.
Yeah.
And I would think, my personal opinion is that's terrible for humanity. That is it convenient? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is why it's taking over. Why it completely took over the world. But there are so many different ways you could argue how that's terrible for it kills small business. It contributes to the very issue that we're discussing, which is isolation.
Isolation.
Because people can literally sit on their couch and instead of having to go to the grocery store or to the Target, whatever. And so those are things that, despite how many of us knew this is not good, that's not going to stop it.
Okay.
Because the newest technology is always going to keep coming, and especially if people will always go for convenience over what's good or what's quality. That's an important lesson because for example, we used to. And some people are still old school and they'll listen to music on like an old record, right? That's the best quality sound.
Stereos. Yeah.
Yeah, the old stereos. That's the best quality natural sound of which that music was originally recorded. Any music that you get through now, the apps or that you get on your phone and MP3s, is not the original sound, and so you're not getting an actual quality of what the original sound was. Or you could look at something like movies. Mm-hmm. People live on Netflix and all these apps that provide them content. That's not the highest quality of that content either. Like, people used to be all obsessed with like Blu-ray and getting the best quality visual. It turns out, in every instance, people will always take convenience over quality. So if something is right there, you can just easily access it. That's the route people are going to go, and so that's the lesson behind Amazon and all these other companies, is that the newest technology that allows
more convenience
ease and convenience in our lives is always going to win out.
Okay. Thank you. That's it for me. This line of questioning.
All right. Let's jump to the question I asked you in Fire Round, which was, do you condone cop killing, and in particular, cop killing in the name of personal ideology?
No. I think when it comes to cop killing behind an ideology, I think we should just call it domestic terrorism. Honestly, it's terrorism.
Terrorism.
It's terrorism. I think that's what they should be charged under. Yeah, if you kill a cop behind an ideology, I think you should be charged as a terrorist. And why do I say this? These people are out here every day, man, protecting us. They're protecting lives, properties, enforcing the law, and they don't get the credit they deserve for that. It is a scary job. Imagine rushing into events, emergency events, and you don't know exactly what you're rushing into. Yeah. However, we can also ignore the fact that there are some bad seats in these PDs, in these police departments. Some people that are always on a power trip, and because of that, they end up giving the police departments a very bad reputation. That is happening, but it's the same like for every job. Now, when it comes to the police department, well, it is kind of like a critical position in the society. When something bad happens, the people will end up losing their lives. But it doesn't necessarily make the entire police in America a bad thing, or anywhere else a bad thing. We need them. Knowing that I can call the cops and they show up here 15 minutes, 20 minutes, makes me feel safe. So I don't understand. I would never get behind that idea where people like defund the police, do that. No. Why? There are criminals out here. We need somebody to keep them in check. And these people are out here doing that. So I respect them, and I think anybody that is out here hunting them behind any ideology should be charged with domestic terrorism. That's what I think.
Okay. You brought up some interesting points. Because yes, there are many things about the police and the system of policing that are very, very flawed, of course.
Absolutely.
Very flawed, that Police often are working in communities where they don't live, they don't understand, they don't connect with the people there, and so rather than serving in those communities and protecting those people as they should be, they're actually targeting those people. And that has led, as we know, to instances of horrible policing. And look, it's a major issue, racial bias in policing. It's a huge, huge issue because you could see instances on a daily basis of police officers racially profiling someone based on the color of their skin. And on the flip side, you can often see belligerent white people who police are actually somehow very patient with. So there's a major, major issue of policing of racial bias, and that needs to be addressed because police departments who deny that there's a bias are denying a basic human trait. We all have bias. And so we need to, in order for us to be more conscious of that, we have to acknowledge that the bias is there. All of us might look at somebody and make a judgment based on some characteristic of that person, whether it's their race or whatever.
Yeah.
That's human nature for us to do that.
Absolutely.
But we have to acknowledge that we do that.
We are civilized beings. We have to rise above that.
Exactly. So I want to make that point, right, that the policing system is very broken in this country. But to your point, these police are there to do a job. They're trying to do that job. The reason I ask this question is because this is a political issue. The Republicans and especially Trump, right, like to frame themselves as the law and order party, right? They say that often, that they're the party of law and order, that they're going to go after all the bad guys, get all the drugs out of here, they're going to support the police. And yet, January 6th of 2021, the Capitol was attacked by Trump's people with Trump's encouragement as they were certifying the 2020 election, which Joe Biden won. And so crowds of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. As we all know how this story went, they broke through. There were police officers at the Capitol trying to do their job, trying to protect the lawmakers in the Capitol. Two of those police officers were killed by these Trump supporters. And so naturally, as you said, this should be treated as, if not terrorism, at least murder. Because that's what it is.
It is domestic terrorism. That's what I say. And I
they-
stand by that.
They killed these police officers who were just there at the Capitol doing their job and who had no support. I mean, they were hugely outnumbered, but the police stayed there and tried to protect the Capitol, and they lost their lives as a result. So the men responsible for killing these police officers were rightfully tried in the court of law and sent to prison. They've now been pardoned by Trump, meaning despite the fact that they're guilty of, as you would call it, global terrorism and murder, they're now
Domestic terrorism.
Domestic
That
terrorism.
was my worry.
They're now walking free simply because they were supporters of Trump. So simply because
here's
of
the thing.
ideology.
Here's the thing. First of all, the incident in January 6th, I don't think it was encouraged by Donald Trump. Donald Trump never asked people to storm the Capitol Hill. In America, it's your right to protest. If you think the elections are, he did not. He never.
There's video of it.
He never asked them to go in there and storm the Capitol Hill. I've not seen one single video of this, and this is something people have been repeating for so many years.
Spoke to. So let's be clear about that. He spoke to the people that same day and said we need to take action.
Okay.
And so
taking action could have meant protest. Protesting is still the right of the American people.
Why would he be protesting?
Absolutely. Right now, here's the thing.
Why would he protest?
That is the basic right of the Americans. That's the basic right of Americans.
So you support. So knowing that Trump lost the election by 6 million votes.
No,
you support
if
protesting that?
If you think that something is wrong right now, as you sit here, if you think that Trump did not win these elections, that I've.
No, I don't think.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't think we know he lost the election.
No, this elections. I'm talking about this past election that he just won right now. If you believe within your heart that he did not win these elections, you are allowed to go out and protest for it in America. That's the beauty of this country. You can protest. Just don't destroy lives and properties.
Okay.
You can always protest. Take action could have meant go out there and protest, make your voices heard. Take action could have meant anything. These people decided to storm the Capitol Hill on their own. Nobody else.
With Trump's encouragement.
No, Trump did not encourage him. Trump
he absolutely did.
No, we will have to agree to disagree on this one because that's not something that I hear. He did not say that. What I've gathered from Trump was he asked people, if you're not comfortable with the results of the elections, it is your right to go out and protest. He didn't ask them to storm.
Those were not his words.
His words were not go and storm the Capitol Hill either. That was not his words.
Those weren't his exact words, but he told them they should take action.
Taking action could mean protest.
On the day that the new president was being certified by Congress.
Yes, it could mean protest. It doesn't necessarily have to storm the
So let's get back to the point, right?
Yeah.
These people murdered 2 police officers.
Yeah.
And Trump is now pardoning them and releasing them from prison for murder.
Here's something that I'm gonna tell again. One of those things I would have to tell American people, right?
I'm gonna love you trying to defend Trump on
yes,
this. Because that would be incredible.
Yes, I'm not gonna defend Trump because it's a bad thing. I don't think Trump should have pardoned these people. Unlike you, I'm capable to see something that Trump does that is right or wrong and I point it out. Unlike you, that you can never see something.
I can see it.
No, you're not capable of ever seeing Trump doing anything that's right. And it's most of the love in America, which is something that's very, very bad. Even Trump do something good or bad in America, as far as there's Donald Trump on it, the love will always think is wrong. That's the problem. Here's the thing. No, I'm not one of those people. Here's the thing. Pardoning these people was the worst thing that I think Trump has done so far in office. I did not like it. And that's something that I hate about presidential pardons in America because they completely take out accountability out of picture. I don't think presidents should just be pardoning people like that. I think to an extent we also need to let the judiciary system carry their role in all of this. Biden didn't have to pardon his family for future things that haven't happened. That's crazy.
No, they didn't kill anybody.
We can't allow that to happen because we don't know what cases will open. Trump doesn't have to pardon people that have killed some people. People lost their lives. These people needed to save their time. Now, when these presidents keep pardoning these people without letting them pay for their crimes, what happened to all these other people that are in jail now? That are there serving a fair time that we have given them for all their own crimes? That is my issue right here. I wasn't going to support Trump for that. That's a mistake. He shouldn't have done that.
It's not just a mistake, it's corruption.
That's the thing. Again, if you're talking about corruption, it goes with Biden too. He doesn't have to pardon his family for things they haven't committed. That's corruption right there, one. What I'm trying to say is presidential pardons in America should have limitations. That's what I was trying to get to. And I'm not going to support Trump for that. Because I voted for Trump, because I'm a Republican, doesn't mean I have to support everything Donald Trump is doing. No. I'm a logical being. If he do something wrong, I'll be like, this is wrong.
Yeah. Well, he's not a real Republican.
If he do something right, no, he's a real Republican. Same as me, I jump ships. I'm a real Republican. He jump ships too. He's a real Republican. I'm sorry, but a lot of people jump ships. If the ideas of this political party no longer align with yours, leave. Don't get stuck there. Leave.
That's not what I mean.
Yeah. I sorry that I assume that, but I assume that because that's what most people say. Oh, he's not a real Republican. He used to be a Democrat. Come on, a lot of us used to be Democrats.
He wasn't a Democrat either.
Yeah. So
he's just the party of Trump.
Well, this is what I'm trying to get to is I'm not going to support that. What he did for January, those people that killed the cops should be in jail. Giving them a presidential pardon is wrong. We should not support that nonsense. That's why I believe presidential pardons in America should have limitations. I see Biden throwing them all over the place, Trump throwing them all over the place. No. That's an abuse of that power.
Yeah. So, to make sure we're fair about this, Biden handed out a lot of pardons, and these were for people who were, in large part, wrongfully jailed. So Biden didn't pardon anybody who had murdered somebody, right? He had pardoned.
Who was wrongfully jailed that Biden pardoned?
I just said that were wrongfully jailed.
Who is that?
People who, for example, it's been a long history in this country of locking up people of color for drug crimes that white people don't get prosecuted for. Classic example of that, right? Racism that's built into the laws, right? So for a long time,
Ben, you're ignoring again. You're doing it again. You're doing it all over again.
No,
These
not-
presidents, I don't care if it's a Democrat.
Let me finish this because
Yeah.
you're making what is a very false equivalency, right?
It's not a
And-
false
and
equivalence.
It's 100% false.
So
because
Biden pardoning Hunter Biden was someone that was wrongfully jailed.
that's not the example I'm giving.
But was
Hunter
that-
Biden? I can get to Hunter Biden. Yeah.
Okay, all right, get to
But
Hunter Biden. I would like
the-
to hear your thoughts on that.
People should understand
Yeah.
what actually happened, though. And so let me tell what the reality of the situation. Biden was pardoning people who were given incredibly long sentences because of the color of their skin, for example. In this country, there's long been laws such as maximum minimums, where it's like based on certain drug types that are more common in black communities, you get a really long sentence, versus drugs like cocaine that are more popular in white communities, you get a very, very small sentence for possession of cocaine versus possession of crack cocaine, which over through history was way more common in black communities. So, but it's we see this still constantly. This is a persistent issue where young black men are locked up for excessive prison sentences.
Yeah.
These are the types of people Biden was pardoning. And so he was using that presidential pardon to release either wrongfully convicted or excessively sentenced individuals. Okay. Now, in the case of Hunter Biden, yes, that is you could absolutely argue that's a form of abuse of power. Hunter Biden doing all sort of sketchy stuff that, quite frankly, if he wasn't the son of the president, nobody would have ever known about, because there's white-collar crimes like his happening constantly every single day. So the only reason there was attention on Hunter Biden was because his father was in the political scene. Hunter Biden himself had nothing to do with politics, with policy, anything. He had committed some
a crime
sketchy,
is a crime.
A crime is a crime, but it's not. But there are different levels of crimes.
Like the way we already tried to establish on this show, we believe everybody should be within the law, even though some are above the law.
No, absolutely. But there's a reason for levels of sentencing and levels of crimes. What you're describing, domestic terrorism, would be multiple life sentences.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, what did I say? Did I support
multiple
Trump?
life sentences.
You were expecting that I was going to sit here and support Trump for that. No, I'm not.
I'm always expecting that. Yeah.
No, I was. No, what I'm trying to state here today for you, Ben, is I'm the type that if I see somebody do something wrong, because now I'm your friend here, we sit here every day. If you do something wrong, I'm going to be able to tell you that this is wrong. I'm not gonna, because you're my one of my best friends in the city. I'm not gonna try to condone that. That goes for Trump. It goes for my mom. You get it? I'm a logical being. When I see something that is wrong, I'll tell you it's wrong. Trump did not have to pardon these people because these people killed 2 people. These people need to stay there and serve the time, right? Now, but what I'm trying to see here is you're trying to draw a fraction between Biden's pardons and what Trump's pardons look like. Trust me, both sides are capable of abusing their pardon, and I think they did abuse both sides. Both of them abused.
I don't
this
think
presidential pardon thing.
Well,
because
as I
here's
said,
the thing.
Biden didn't pardon anybody who was
Here's the
convicted
thing.
of murder.
When no,
So
it doesn't have.
it is an important
A crime is a crime. If you commit
murder
a crime,
is a way worse crime.
I know, but a crime is a crime. We cannot be like, okay, we can't be like, oh, let's pardon these people because they didn't commit murder, and then let's not pardon these people because they committed murder. No.
Well, that's a good point, because as we discussed when we discussed the Hunter Biden pardon previously, you actually acknowledged that you would have done the same thing, because this was a family member of...
Absolutely. And again,
this was a family member of Biden. So the question I asked you, the original question was, condone the killing of police based on ideology.
No.
So Biden's pardon had nothing to do with ideology. This was he was
what I'm just trying to get you to what I'm trying to establish with you here is this: presidential pardons in America, all these presidents we have seen in here, I think even the past 4, they have all abused that power. Trump abused it by pardoning these cops. Biden abused it by pardoning his family for crimes that haven't even occurred yet. I'm from a corrupted country, and I know that's the height of corruption right there. If I pardon you for something that has not occurred yet, that means I'm giving you a blank check to doing crime. That's how it works. That's giving you a blank, and that's corrupt. That's the height of corruption right there. Coming from a very corrupted country, I can tell you for sure. I know corruption, and I see it, and I can recognize the face of corruption when I see it. I'm not saying Trump was right. What I'm just trying to establish is commanders-in-chief in America can easily abuse that power. That's why I was stating it here that it should have a limitation. I didn't support Trump on that. You were the one dragging it, going in, taking it back and forth. trying to make it.
Well, no, you
Biden's,
raised,
Biden's pardons are lesser. Trump's
you
only
raised,
are like
you
no.
raised the point of Biden. That was you brought that into this.
I brought
discussion.
that out. The
And
only
it's
reason
a
I
false
brought that was
equivalency,
I
because-
brought that. I'm still saying no. It's not a false equivalency.
It absolutely
All
is.
of them should
Biden
say
did not
their
pardon
time.
anybody who convicted murder.
Oh my goodness! You're still going back to the same point. I hear you.
Yeah.
We have accepted
Murder-
that murder is a bigger crime. But all I'm trying to tell you is what
nobody
I'm trying
besides
to.
Trump set murderers free.
I need you to accept just one thing for me.
And it was
Prove to
based
me.
on
Prove to
ideology.
me that you can be able to accept that Biden did something wrong. Prove to me.
I already said he did something wrong.
Thank you. So you believe it was an abuse of power from him too?
Sure.
So what do you think we should be doing here? Should we be trying to blame these individuals that really don't control all the power in America, or should we be looking at that power itself that we are handing to them, that they get to abuse when they want?
No, I think that we should be holding the current president accountable, who says he believes in law and order and wants to support police officers.
Okay, here's what I think. I do not think
For
an individual is responsible for this. I think
He's pardoning people who murdered police officers.
That's wrong.
Because they support him politically.
That's wrong. Again, I already admitted that with you a long time ago. That's wrong. But here's what I'm proposing as a solution. I think presidential pardons should have limitations, because all the past 4 presidents I've seen in America have abused that power. Trump abused
The
it.
past 4?
Well, all of them, they have their presidential pardons. If you start pulling data up here, you're gonna see those.
I know they've all used pardons.
Yeah. You will see some people that they pardon that you yourself you would think, oh, this person should have stayed in jail. Yeah, there's no way this person should have received this pardon.
No.
The past 4.
So I mean, yeah.
All I'm trying to get to
the justice system is so.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
would use if I became president, I would fully use that capability to release innocent people from prison, because our country is a country that's built on. We have the most people currently locked up than like the rest of the world.
Even me too, I would
the
do
United
that.
States.
Absolutely, Ben. I would. This is something I could sign. If I was a president of the United States of America today, with that power, I would use a lot of people. What I was saying is, should have a limitation, and the limitation should have been this: if he had a limitation, somebody would have stopped Trump from releasing these criminals. You get what I'm trying to get to? Mm-hmm. 2 people died. These people should be in jail. I wasn't disagreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you the whole time. But what I'm trying to state to you is this: this power can easily be abused by anybody. And from what I've seen so far, the past 4 leaders, the past 4 commander-in-chiefs have all abused this power in some form. So we need to set limitations to that power.
Bush certainly did.
Presidential pardons should have some form of limitation. There should be crimes that if you're committed, presidential pardons cannot free you from. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point I was trying to make here.
Sure.
Was Trump wrong for pardoning 2 people that have committed murder? Absolutely. What are you doing? You just released 2 criminals in the street, people that committed murder.
Well, and so that's just one of many examples of who Trump has pardoned, because he's pardoned all sorts of super sketchy people. So it is important to make that distinction, right? Because I gave examples of who President Biden was primarily pardoning. We can agree the Hunter Biden thing was not ethical.
And I did not agree to your primary, because it was too generalized. It's too broad for us to know who Biden was pardoning.
We can
have to break in name by name, because
we can see who he pardoned.
you just automatically remove Biden from the potential.
Well, let me finish the point here, which is that it's 2 completely different uses of the power.
It's exactly the same.
It's not. No,
exactly the same.
Let me make the point before you start disagreeing. Let me finish the sentence here before you disagree with it.
Yes, I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Finish your sentence.
Trump is using it politically, right? And so the people we can compare the list. The people Trump has been pardoning are people who support him politically, and that not just like the ones who killed police officers, but like people who worked in his previous administrations and who were convicted of serious crimes. So Trump is doing it not based on any sort of ethical standard whatsoever. He's just doing it out of pure corruption. Versus if you look at the previous presidents, this was a moral thing. They're saying these people they're not people who they're personally connected with. Trump is pardoning people who are personally involved with his business and his campaign.
I hear you. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, Ben. I'm not gonna.
It's not a question.
No,
I mean,
no,
but-
no.
but
I
it's an
want
important
to
point.
ask. I want to ask you a question. I didn't say that was a question. I said I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you ever seen any president in America that left power that was targeted as Trump was?
That was targeted?
Yes, as Trump was. I've never seen such a thing. Even, not even,
I'm glad you asked this question.
Hold on. And the reason I say this to the American people is this. The reason I say this is because in my whole 28 years in this planet, in fact, I've never seen any leader get targeted that much. So there are people that were literally haunted for supporting Trump during his first term. This man was haunted like he was wonderful. I was like, what? How was this the president of America? That people are running after this much? We were trying to cripple. Then the worst is when he said he was gonna come back to power again. My goodness.
This is classic.
It became worse. So
yeah, this is classic.
So yes, like I said, I understand Biden for pardoning Hunter Biden, and I understand Trump for pardoning the people that got politically targeted for supporting him. I understand that.
Well, that's just a lie that you just said, because these people weren't politically targeted. They were politically targeted. They were convicted of real crimes.
Hunter was convicted of real crimes, bro.
We're not talking about Hunter. We've acknowledged that piece.
Okay.
Get over Hunter.
Okay.
You gotta let him go.
All right.
Right? So, no. It's a completely false, misleading statement to say that they were that the people who got sent to prison for committing serious crimes like money laundering or working with, trying to influence elections with foreign governments, these kind of things. There was not political targeting. These were people who committed crimes and they went to jail for it. These are the people Trump is pardoning. And
so everybody Biden pardoned was someone that was politically targeted?
No. They had nothing to do with politics. The people, like I said, when Biden, and even going back to Obama, when they were pardoning people, it was a moral thing. They were pardoning people specifically who they're all right. If you want to talk facts here, yes.
Yeah.
Then listen and learn, because
no, there's nothing to learn here.
Of course, you don't think there is, because your mind is already made up.
No, my mind is not made up.
Then let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Because yes, Trump was targeted because he was corrupt in his first term in office. So no, this is not a political targeting. If you try to commit a coup against your own government, you should be prosecuted for that.
So Trump was trying to commit a coup against.
Yes. Okay. If you have committed tax evasion and other crimes, you should be convicted for that.
Yeah. Let it go on record. Ben said Trump was trying to commit coup against the American government.
Absolutely,
he was. For everybody listening, I need to make this a real. For everybody listening, TikTok everywhere, I'm gonna need you guys to do what you always do best and bring your own facts and your own data. Because right now, if we want to go head for head and looking at who Biden pardoned and who Trump pardoned, because I think that's the junction we are in right now. It's gonna take us days. It's gonna take us days.
I would love to.
So it's impossible to look at every single pardon Biden did and Trump.
But I mean, you're still missing the key point here, which is that Biden, Obama, those were the two previous presidents before Trump.
And those were the good pardons, but Trump is the bad pardon.
You can whether you like the pardons or not. There's a very obvious point here that
those were the moral ones. Okay, I get you.
Biden and Obama were not pardoning people who they personally knew.
Okay.
Other than Hunter, that's the one example. But Obama and Biden, they were
his whole family. Yeah, but yeah, those are the two examples. But yeah, let's keep going.
No, they were the mass. They were, and they did a lot of pardons. None of these people were their personal colleagues, friends, anything. These were people who they had done research. Their administrations had done a lot of research and said these people were wrongfully imprisoned.
Yeah.
That's a completely different scenario
than
what Trump is doing. He's pardoning his personal colleagues. That's two completely different scenarios. So we cannot draw. It's Biden, not a fair argument to say.
So Biden was a moral one.
Yes, Trump is bad, but these were doing. But all the other presidents were also bad. No, Trump is an exception.
Trump is bad, but the other presidents were good. Got it. So yeah, we can go back and forth till tomorrow with this, pulling up pardon to pardon. So.
It's two different scenarios. Yeah.
No, this is one of those things. Let's just let the audience.
Show me somebody that Obama pardoned that was his personal.
I would have to, again. You're asking me to go almost 8 years back That's not data I came prepared with. That's
No,
something
it-
I
it's
would
there.
have to go. I would have to go dig it out. These are things I would have to go dig it out.
Yeah.
These are things. Even Biden, everybody, the Biden pardon for his last 4 years he was in power. I will have to.
But
go
it's
dig
also
it out.
important
I
that
can't sit here and claim something
Yeah.
without the facts or the data right here. That's what I said. If we are to go head to head, looking at each individual pardon Biden did and Trump did and break it down and Obama, it will probably take us 2 weeks. It will take us 2 weeks just sitting here. Because we can break one and we go back and forth on it for hours, but it will take us 2 weeks.
So Trump, I mean, it's important. One last point.
So,
here
so
is that-
you did ask me the question, right?
Yeah.
So my overall answer is this: the police department, they need our support because these people are out here in the streets protecting us. We must be able to support them and take care of them. You also brought up this idea of Trump pardoning these cops, and to me that was wrong. And I believe every American president is abusing this power.
Well, he didn't pardon the cops. He pardoned.
The cop killers.
Some people who
Sorry
tried to
about
overthrow
that.
the
So
government.
I believe that was wrong, and we should be able to have limitations to who can be pardoned and who cannot, because this power has been abused again. To me, past 4 presidents have abused this power, and to me, I just see a power that is getting abused, and I think we should be setting limitations to that power. So at the end of the day, for me, I think we should protect our police departments. We should support them maximally because these people are out here every day risking their lives to protect us. These are also people that need to go back to their families every day at the end of the day. So we should protect them, and we should probably give them their flowers for all the work they do. So thank you to every policeman out there that is listening to this episode for the great work you guys do, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you for enforcing.
Well, police, and I'll just add, police departments are incredibly underfunded.
Yeah.
As so much of our local municipal services are.
Yeah.
Shut up, Siri.
Serious interruption.
No, police departments are underfunded. These officers are often not trained to deal with so many of the situations they go into. That's a big root of the issue of policing. But as I said, it's a broken system that needs work.
Now that we are on this bend, sorry that I'm going to bring this up. I know we are almost out of time, but I'm going to bring this up. So just real quick, I'm not going to waste your time. I think what we're seeing with the police department in America is a classic example of what is wrong with America. We see it in the police department so much because when these mistakes happen in the PDs, somebody dies. And often when these mistakes happen in the PDs, maybe there's a camera to film it. Have you ever sat down and thought of what is happening in the educational system, medical system in America, HR departments? It's the same. People of color are getting the short end of the deal across the board. But we only get to focus on the police department because when it happens there, somebody dies. When it happens there, we see a video. Imagine what is happening in hospitals. Imagine what is happening in schools. If you've had a friend that work in a hospital like me, they will tell you in the hospital, when we get a patient of color, you can clearly see the difference in treatment.
Yeah.
Your friends will tell you
Well,
that.
there are plenty of people focusing on that. And
Your friends will tell you that. So I think what is happening with the police department in America, it's even broader than just the system of policing. It's the nature of our country.
it's built into the system.
Thank you. So
And it's perpetuated by an administration that wants to cancel DEI programs that educates people on that.
So let's pay attention to all other departments in America. Yeah. Now, when it comes to the DEI program, I haven't really had much to say about it because I'm still studying the entire thing, right? But this DEI thing, I think we should get to that point really fast with our society where everything is by merit, not skin color, not who you are, not merit.
In order for us to get to that point,
I really need us to get to merit.
Yeah, but that's not a simple
I know.
step.
I know.
We'd have to totally upend the existing system and rebuild it. And so the purpose of a program like DEI is to help supplement the fact that this system is very unequal.
Okay.
And so, you know, everyone likes to think of, America, it's the land of opportunity, everybody has equal access. That's never ever been reality in this country.
Absolutely.
White people of privilege always have had more access to better education, better medical care, all of these things. And so DEI is a program in place to try to help that situation, try to equalize the situation and make sure that, hey, we need to make sure that that people of color are getting the same opportunities, the same care, all of these things. So just erasing that just shows incredible ignorance, right? Because our country is obviously not in a place of equality, but the bigger issue is also funding, and there have been government programs in place for years and years, like the system of education, the Secretary of Education who gets appointed by the president. Since the 60s, since the Civil Rights Bill was passed, there's been government institutions that sort of are there to ensure that racism isn't happening in the system like we just described. Mm-hmm. If these programs, if they're not staffed, if they're not, first of all, led by the right people, but also then funded to do their jobs, then they're not going to happen. And so what we said, we've talked a lot about education. The Trump administration is already attacking the education system at every possible angle that he can. And so he's already threatening.
Why?
Why is he attacking education? Because that's Republicans, but especially, this administration have no interest in they're competing with other countries on that, but also they don't believe in, on a most basic level, right? The more educated this population is, the less likely they are to gain power. And so that's to their benefit. But it's also the fact, it's more complex than that. The wealthiest people send their children to private schools. They don't have an issue with funding private schools. But that's not where the majority of children in this country are going. The majority of children are in public schools.
In public school, absolutely.
And that's what needs funding.
We established that. Well, about this current administration attacking education, I really don't have much information on that. But I know that this administration is trying to approach a lot of programs in America differently from what we have seen before. So I will have to gather much data on that to see if they are attacking the system of education or they are trying to correct it. So I will have to gather much data on that. But it seems that you are more informed on this right now, because there's a difference between attacking something and trying to change it. Those are two different things. They might be trying to offload certain things and then change certain angles of how our educational system is in America, which if that is the reason, if that's what they are doing, then I will encourage it 100% because it's already a broken system. It has been a broken system for years.
And look,
I don't really have enough data on this, so I will have to look into that. And if they are just attacking the system of education, not trying to correct it, not trying to modify it in any shape or form, then it's going to be one of those things I can support.
Well, so what the argument that I predict you will hear from Republicans, because this is what they've actually been saying for decades, is that we want to create opportunities for kids to go to other schools that are better. But that's just not a reality. We know the vast majority of our children are going to end up in public school in this country. There's not enough private schools to accommodate, and these private schools have the right to not let people in, right? And so that's what
you have to meet certain criteria to get in.
They have to pay.
It's dangerous.
And some of these private schools, honestly, they're going to fight against allowing more diverse kids into their schools. So it's
because I know the build up to the elections, these last elections we had, I saw a lot of parents that were really very, very angry with the public system of education here. They didn't like the things that their children were getting taught in schools. They didn't like the manner to which the teachings were done. So I will have to look into this if that is what they are trying to correct, or if it's just destroying the system of education. Because it doesn't make sense to just destroy the system of education.
Well, they are attacking education. They're going after specific schools, and they're threatening schools that are teaching certain diversity programs. And so Trump's administration is specifically.
There's a lot of diversity programs that I hate. Me even being.
But this is they're even going after schools that are teaching like African American history, for example.
Oh hell no!
And so
we need that in school.
Yeah,
we need that.
But Trump and the Doge clowns, that's what they're doing though. They're saying schools like this are going to lose their funding if they're teaching these courses that we don't agree with. So that's one thing. But lastly, I'll just say, right, the Department of Education is a mess, and so there are absolutely things we could do to help fix that.
We should.
But just like gutting it is not going to fix it, right? the approach that Doge is taking with so many things, where it's like, you know, if you have a broken finger, you don't just cut your whole arm off, right?
Well, there's a saying in West Africa that goes like this: a river cannot go through the forest without bringing down trees. We believe in West Africa that sometimes if the house needs to be swept out, we should sweep it out. And
I agree with the analogy. I agree with the analogy. But the point is, right? Let's make another analogy. Let's say America is an obese person.
Yeah.
So how do you help an obese person? You don't just cut the fat off of them. Say, all right, you're better.
You're better.
No, you have to take a strategic approach, right? Because just cutting programs like they've been doing, like we've talked about USAID, just cutting things in.
No, actually, I will have to agree with you on this, Ben, because the idea behind cutting most of these programs might be right, because right now our debt in America is $35.99 trillion. That's incredibly high. We have to figure out ways to pay back that debt, right? But just cutting programs like that without it's the idea behind cutting those programs and reducing federal workers and all of this is actually good. But the way to which we are taking it and how the speed at which we are taking it is,
and you can use,
I'm scared of that.
You can use USAID as a prime example, because what Doge is clearly doing is for show, right? That has little to no impact on the overall federal budget, because this is such a small program. The biggest, most massive budget program in the entire U.S. budget is the U.S. military.
We know.
And the reason that that's not being attacked by Doge is because Elon Musk has a bunch of U.S. defense contracts with that department. And so if Doge was serious about cutting down the budget, that's where they would go.
They will start with from there.
But
I agree with you.
It goes against what...
Again, this is one of those things again that I will have to agree with you. But here's the thing too. Doge has only been active for like how many days? Is it even up to 80 days? Let's wait. We don't know if they're gonna circle around and get to the military. So let's give it time. It's too early to make that assumption that they're never gonna get to that, because it's just 8. It hasn't even been up to 80 days. So let's wait. They have 4 years. Maybe they're gonna get to the military.
It hasn't. You're right. It hasn't even been 80 days.
Let's wait.
They are already objectively a disaster of an organization.
Hold on. It's as like, even when you start a new business, how does it look like? That's how the life works. When you start anything new, it's never perfect. So let's hold on. Give it time. That's what I would ask the American people is.
Well, when I start a new business, I generally don't, attack Africa as my first step. But here's the thing. And here's the thing about one last point about USAID. This is not without impacts, right? If you look at that, the organizations that were on the ground in Africa, helping people, helping things like preventing disease, right? That's a global issue. Even though the impact is in Africa, imagine what could come of that. I mean, if a disease started spreading,
it's like quarantine. I get what you're getting to. It's like quarantining.
We're going to be back
attacking it
in
at
COVID
the source.
times.
Yeah,
and that's going to be the cause of it.
Yeah,
and so it's terrible. Also, a terrible approach so far.
Yeah, and I understand this, Ben, but I'm an African, and I'm also trying to look at this from the American taxpayer angle. Mm-hmm. You've been paying taxes for years. I've just been here for 7 years. I haven't been paying taxes for that long. You've been paying taxes for a long time, and this money has been distributed all over the world, right? Don't you think that American taxpayers also have a point when they say maybe some of this money should just stay in America? And another point too is this: you paying these taxes and you're seeing a lot of these foreign countries that you're supporting financially talk about, we want to dump the dollar, we no longer want to trade with America. Why would you keep supporting those countries if they no longer want to trade with you? So it's a lot, because I don't believe Donald Trump's, this is not, I didn't bring this on the show earlier because it's not a fact, it's just an opinion. In my opinion, I don't think Donald Trump canceling this aid has anything to actually do with those aids. I think he's targeting countries that are drifting towards the BRICS alliance. He's targeting countries that want to break away from America. And if that is his big idea, then that's the smartest thing Donald Trump has ever done in his entire life. Because as the BRIC alliance grow, the dollar will go weaker. If you understand what the dollar does around the world as a reserve currency, you will understand why it is very important for America to keep that position. So most of the countries like South Africa that stands as a pillar in the BRICS alliance. Imagine South Africa wants to trade with Russia more. They have formed this alliance with Russia. They no longer want to work with America. Why would American taxpayer keep supporting South Africa?
I have absolutely no doubt in what you're saying. That,
Again, this is not a fact. That's why I never brought it up.
Right, but policy-wise,
yeah,
if you want to understand Trump's moves, you do have to look specifically at what personal benefit it serves, right? And so, like, I mean, yeah, if he's thinking from a business standpoint, and like, but
I actually think that.
But the issue is right that populism is not a realistic mindset at this. As we have said on the show, like, we live in a global economy.
Yeah.
Nothing is without impact. And so, yeah, I mean, cutting ties with countries around the globe and stuff like that, it can only come back to hurt us.
Here's the thing. It was already a one-sided relationship. It was already a one-sided. In recent years, it has been a one-sided relationship, Ben. You can't keep supporting someone and they are rushing to your enemy. It is common knowledge. It doesn't even have to we don't need a deeper explanation to this. If you keep giving aid to a country, and the reason you've been giving this aid to that country is, well, whenever they want to buy cocoa, they want to buy petrol, they want to buy gasoline, they use your dollar, and that's how you've been staying on top. Now this country decided to join another country trying to bring you down. And then they keep talking about, I'm going to stop using your currency. I'm going to start using this new currency. It would just be a smart thing for you to hit those countries with all types of economic sanctions.
No,
it would be a smart thing.
100%. It's a political game.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at something.
That's why I believe that is the angle Trump is taking, because he already warned them over a tweet. He already said, if you are an ally of America, if you do business with America and you wanna keep pushing this BRICS agenda, you will hear from me. As an American, that's something you should definitely co-sign, because trust me, it's not gonna affect you. But in 40 years, 50 years from today, if the BRICS alliance keep growing the way it's growing, it's gonna be very beneficial to Africa. But Europe and America will suffer. I'm promising you that. You need to look more into that alliance. You really need to do more research on it and see. Most of the countries Trump is hitting today, you've seen all these sanctions, they are all in the BRICS alliance now, or they are applying to join the BRICS.
Mm-hmm. No, there's always going to be competition like that, and it's growing more and more so, right? I mean, the competition to the American dollar and all of that. That's looking at it purely from kind of a business standpoint, right? But these, I mean, obviously, the U.S. and the West in general has long been just taking full advantage of Africa, sucking up all their resources, all of these things. I'm looking at this not just as a political battle between governments, because that's what that is. That's Trump going against their governments.
Yeah.
What USAID was doing was helping people on the ground in Africa who, like I said, that's just humanity. Like, if we're not helping people around the world who need it, it does.
Let me correct you.
It does come back and get us.
Let me correct that. The U.S. aid was helping just a little fraction. You send that money. Let me tell you something. The money you have sent to Africa as an individual right now is a lot. If we were to break those figures and really look at what you as an individual has contributed, it will be a lot in all the years that you have been paying taxes. But I promise you this: the African people haven't seen up to 5% of what you've been saying.
Well, I mean, like I've said before, these were programs literally on the ground, and now they're just packing up and leaving. And that's going to have a very adverse impact.
Yeah.
And USAID was not a significant, no one's going to even notice any change in the taxes.
In American taxes.
No.
That's why I think it's a political tool. Trump is using it to fire back at these nations that are going, which I understand. If that is his idea, then as a political analyst sitting here, I would definitely say, well, that's a smart move. Do I like it? I don't. Africa was benefiting of that. I mean, maybe some certain people, some people in Africa were benefiting of that. But if Africa is going to ally with Russia and China, which are like the America's biggest competition, there's no reason for America to keep supporting them. Absolutely. So I understand.
Yeah, but it's not just supporting African economy. It's also just supporting people in need. That's like
You're talking now from a place of a humanitarian
standpoint.
I understand.
And so I agree with you. I mean, it's a political game. Everything is for Trump, but on the
not for Trump. This is for the American people, actually.
More than that, it's also just for show. To say, look at what Doge is doing. Like they're already making cuts.
Ben, trust me. Forget about Doge. Even if Dutch is not doing it, even the next president of America comes here, that should be the number one thing they're targeting. You're not able to see past the fact that just look past Trump a little bit. Look into BRICS alliance. I'm telling you, BRICS is gonna collapse the dollar and America. You're not listening. Forget about Dutch and Trump.
We're a long way off from that. I mean, look, no, I get it. I get it.
So even if the next American president is Bernie Sanders, our guy, Bernie needs to still focus on making sure that the countries that are on America's side stays on American side. And the only way to do that is to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to do business with you. I'm not going to do that.
Well, I mean, that's a funny example. And I know we're over time here, but just to end on that, like, that's two populist style leaders on opposite ends of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
So Trump is populist in the sense that he says, America first, we don't care about all these other countries. Bernie says that in the sense that, yeah, we need to, he actually has a similar message. Mm-hmm. Bernie just has a much different approach to actually, getting better wages and better jobs for the people in this country. But
Bernie would drown this economy.
It's the same. Well, no, he has concrete ideas of how to actually.
Well, when I sit down and talk with, I don't really know much about Bernie Sanders' ideas, but when I sit down and talk with people, ever since you told me, because you are the one that introduced me to his ideologies anyways, when I sit down and talk with people, they're telling me that Bernie is a great guy, but the problem is, if he takes power, he will literally destroy the economy. That's what they tell me.
Well, then they don't understand policy. But I mean, like, people said the same thing about Trump, right? This is someone who had literally no governmental experience. The thing is, in his first administration, people didn't let him do too much, right? Like the Republicans, he actually hired some people who had some experience in government.
Yeah.
And so they were like, all right, yeah, we're not gonna.
Let's not do this. Stop this. Yeah, they put some limitations on it.
Go ahead, David. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, again, please do me a favor. I think we should have a longer conversation about BRICS and what the BRICS alliance.
Sure.
What their idea is about America. Because that alliance, I promise you, these are not countries that get along with one another. China doesn't really get along that much with Russia. The Brazil, all of these countries, I think they're coming together just to make sure that America goes down. So it doesn't matter who is in power. Whoever gets in power, they need to have an iron fist if they want America to remain the way America is for the next 70 years.
Yeah, but the most likely thing to bring the United States down is imploding our own economy before somebody else even has to.
Yeah, America downfall is definitely going to come from within anyways.
Yeah, and we're going to destroy ourselves.
Absolutely.
If we don't get some competent leaders in there. And look, the wealth gap, to be fair, has been growing constantly. And so, I mean, you bring up Bernie Sanders, like, someone who's actually willing to go against the corporate interests is the only possible thing that could really stop that from happening. But we're digging ourselves.
There will not be any wealth to even talk about wealth gap if BRICS keep going the way it is. That's what I'm trying to get to you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There will not even be wealth. There will not be conversations about wealth gap if BRICS keep going the way it is.
Yeah, like I said, that's a concept, but it's a long way off from fruition. But we can dedicate a whole episode to that if you want.
That's the idea Americans have, which is a mistake Americans are making. It's not a concept. BRICS is growing at the speed of light. Any economy.
No, I'm not saying it's not.
What I'm trying to tell you is, if they, Tanzania no longer trade with the dollar. Tanzania buys now with their own currency.
Good for them.
That's good for them, but it's bad for America. Immediately people start giving up on
it. Yeah.
You will not. The biggest toll America have had is the dollar being a reserve currency.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
it's not without impact. Yeah. Like I said before, our economy is completely global. There's no way around that. So, let's end on that.
Yeah.
We'll continue. We'll have to continue.
We always argue a lot when we come here. So, anyways, it's a great conversation today, Ben. Amazing conversation, man.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we'll continue on the next episode, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. And please leave us comments, and if some statistics that we bring up here or some opinions are not the reality, please do let us know. And we are all here to learn. I'm here to learn. Ben is here to learn, and we also can learn from you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today.
Thank you all very much.